back to the channel. Today we've got our daily NBA predictions here for Wednesday, January 22nd. We've got 9 games today in the National Basketball Association. And obviously, we're going to predict every single one like we've been doing every single day here on the channel. The big games today, a big one between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Houston Rockets. I may have forgot to put that on the screen right now, but the big games today also, the Golden State Warriors take on the Sacramento Kings and the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm still currently deciding which one of these games I'm going to make the thumbnail. I put Donovan Mitchell in the thumbnail a lot, so I'll probably, you've already seen it. It's probably Steph Curry and De'Aaron Fox, so whoops. But anyways, before we get into the video, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA predictions here on the channel. Earlier today, a couple hours ago, we posted our college basketball best bets on the channel. Looking for a bounce back day here for college basketball, so make sure to check that video out if you haven't yet. And also, make sure to go check out our PFL Dubai predictions. It is Dagestan versus Ireland 2. No, not Habib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor. They're both going to be there, though. It's going to be Usman Nurmagomedov versus the up-and-coming Irish fighter in Paul Hughes for the Bellator lightweight championship, but it's PFL now and Bellator doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, watch that video for further clarification. Anyways, let's get on to it, guys. Our first game today is in Atlanta, Georgia. We've got the Atlanta Hawks, who are 22 and 20, taking on the 22 and 21 Detroit Pistons. So the winner of this game will be the 6th seed currently in the Eastern Conference, and there's a great divide. Oh, not a great divide, but it kind of feels like the top 5 teams in the East have been established now, right? I think everything's kind of worked itself out. I know the Magic have been losing, unfortunately, but the top 5 now, I think, have been established. I don't know what the final order is going to be, but Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, Bucks, Pacers. Those have always felt like the 5 best teams this season, and going into this year, I don't know entirely about, Cleveland's supposed to be good. I don't know, no one thought they're going to be this good, and again, we'll get to the Cavs in a minute against the Rockets, but these are the 5 best teams in the East. And then you get this next tier of Atlanta, Detroit, Magic, Heat. Like, these teams are, one of those teams are not going to make the playoffs because of the play-in, but these squads are going to get a chance to make it into the postseason. I think the Hawks are better than these squads. And again, then there's just the sucks tier. One of these teams have to get the 10 seed and get a shot in the play-in. We're talking Bulls, Sixers, Nets, Hornets, Raptors, and then there's the Washington Wizards. So, I don't know. But anyways, in this game, we're going with the Hawks. The Hawks are at home. They get Detroit. Minus 150 favorites are Atlanta, and I like Atlanta here. I like this Hawks squad a lot. Trae Young is going to be probable for this game with an Achilles injury. Jalen Johnson questionable. Zachary Risichet obviously out for another week, but I'd expect both Trae Young and Jalen Johnson to play this game, and ultimately that's all the Hawks need. I like this Atlanta team a lot. Even in that loss to the Knicks, I keep on liking Atlanta Hawks basketball even more, and I absolutely love what Trae Young does. The man's a star, man. Trae Young's that good. Averaging 23.5 and 12. He's an elite shooter in the league. He's an elite playmaker, and he sets his teammates up. Jalen Johnson's back from injury, only gonna get better for Atlanta. The Great Barrier Thief, we're talking about the Aussie, Dyson Daniels. Great defensive guy. Again, your best scorer, they're putting Dyson Daniels on. That was Jalen Brunson last game for the New York Knicks. That will be Cade Cunningham tonight for the Detroit Pistons, and I expect the Great Barrier Thief, Dyson Daniels, to have a big night. DeAndre Hunter, a huge presence off the bench. This guy's averages 20 off of the bench. I don't know who's, going to be the 6th man of the year. I don't know who's in the odds, who's at the top of the odds this year for the 6th man of the year, but it better be DeAndre Hunter. I'm going to check right now. It's Peyton Pritchard over DeAndre Hunter? Are we serious? Pritchard's a good player. He's averaging 14, but Hunter averages 20. He's been hurt, I get it, but really? He's not even, oh, he's 2nd. Okay. Pritchard's a minus 190 though. Guys, I'd put some stock in DeAndre Hunter plus 425. I'm just saying. Yeah, Men Thompson plus 800. He's starting now, but Senti Aldama plus 800. Malik Beasley, I like Beasley a lot, but he's not gonna win it. Bradley Beal's not gonna win it. Russ is not gonna win it. Russ might, no. Okay, it's really a 2-man race between Pritchard and DeAndre Hunter, but I'm surprised Pritchard's such a big favorite. I would give a huge shout to DeAndre Hunter for this award. He's a big spark off the bench for Atlanta. He hits big shots for this Hawks team, And I do think the Hawks beat the Pistons here. Again, Detroit with Cade, obviously. They're a good team. They are. Don't get me wrong. They're coming off a huge victory on the road in Houston. I don't think they make it back-to-back road wins to start this road trip. Again, Detroit's going to be on the road for a while. They don't come back home until January 31st. I mean, they start now. They started on Monday against the Rockets. They don't end until next Wednesday on the 29th against the Indiana Pacers. I like Atlanta in the spot. Again, we pick Atlanta all the time, and it works, you know? Again, I think the ROI on us picking the Hawks has been pretty positive this season because, again, they win games like this, and they've been able to cash at plus money so many times this year. So give me Atlanta to win. I think they cover the 2.5 points as well. We like the Hawks at home here against the Detroit Pistons. Next up, we move on to Brooklyn, New York, as we have the Brooklyn Nets at home against the Phoenix Suns. So yesterday, we successfully predicted the Nets to cover that line at home against the New York Knicks. They were getting... was it 10.5, 9.5, and they covered the game. They only lost by 4 on TNT. Now this is where they're gonna suck, though. Let's just be honest. Second half of a back-to-back. Now the injuries really come into play. You know, we'll see who plays and who doesn't. But Phoenix coming into the spot, they just traded. Okay, I'll be honest. I haven't read much into it, but I've seen the headline. Phoenix traded. God, they got 3 first-round picks for a first-round pick in 2031 from the Jazz. I think it was that. Let me see. Okay, it was, yeah, so, no, the Jazz gave the Suns 3 first-round picks for the 2031 pick. I don't know why the Jazz did that. Yeah, Phoenix Suns are trading their 2031 unprotected first to the Utah Jazz for 3 first-round picks. The Suns are acquiring the least favorable first of 2025 of Cleveland or Minnesota, 2027 of Cleveland, Minnesota, and Utah, and 2029 of Cleveland, Minnesota, and Utah. I mean, I get it. Maybe if the Cavs are going to continue to be really good, so it's not really worth anything, but it's 2031. I just don't know why the Jazz would do that for 1 pick. I'll be honest, I was expecting like 2035, 2036, and something like this. I don't know. The trade doesn't really make sense to me at all. But anyways, that doesn't have anything to do with this game. Phoenix on the road here. I think they're fairly healthy. Bradley Beal's questionable. Yusuf Nurkic doesn't play anymore, so we don't really have to care about him being out with conditioning problems. Obviously, he's still getting used to getting back into the swing of things, but Nurkic's a 3rd-string center now, so he doesn't really play. He's a garbage time guy now, unfortunately. Phoenix on the road here. They didn't play yesterday. The Nets did. Don't really care. The game's in Brooklyn. It's just an opportunity spot here for Phoenix. Yeah, they've been on a long road trip. They come home after this. They come home to the Washington Wizards on the 25th on Saturday. So end of the road trip, but I don't really think it matters. KD's playing at his old, obviously, house or team in Brooklyn against the Nets. And I think Phoenix gets to him here. This is a game where the Suns just kind of run away with it. I get it. They have not been able to blow out any of these teams recently, right? Utah, they beat by 8. Charlotte, they beat by 7. Washington, they beat by 7. But they get the Nets on a second half of a back-to-back. I think the Suns get him. And with the Nets injury problems, they put everything they had into trying to win that game against the Knicks last night. They didn't. Now they're going to get blown out in the second half of a back-to-back. Give me the Phoenix Suns in the spot. They are exactly 500 right now, 21-21. I think they get back over 500 with a victory here in Brooklyn against the Nets. Let's move on to our next game. We go to Dallas, Texas, as we have the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Dallas, 7th right now in the Western Conference, 23-20. Minnesota, 9th in the Western Conference, 22-21. I like Minnesota on the road here. I know they've lost back-to-back games with the Cavaliers and the Grizzlies, but they're just right now the healthier team. And Dallas, you know, they have a bunch of injuries stacking up right now. So let's read them all. Obviously, Luka Doncic still out. He should be, at least we should get an update on Luka by the end of the month. Obviously, his injury on Christmas against these Minnesota Timberwolves. But Dallas, obviously, Dante Exum still out. Klay Thompson questionable with an ankle injury. Derek Lively questionable with an ankle injury. Quentin Grimes questionable with a back injury. Najee Marshall questionable with an illness. Jaden Hardy out with an ankle injury. Dwight Powell out with an ankle injury. It's just a lot of rotational guys, let's just be honest. It's a lot of rotational guys, and it's a lot to make up. And then when you look at the Timberwolves, they literally have 1 injury, and it's Dante DiVincenzo, who's out indefinitely with a grade 3 left toe sprain. So that sucks for Minnesota. It does. That's a lot of points, being lost, obviously. And now Mike Conley has to rejoin the starting lineup for Minnesota, which sucks again because you much rather have DiVincenzo in that spot. Don't get me wrong. It takes, a real hit out of their bench unit. I mean, now it's Dillingham, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Ingles, and Naz Reid, I think. And then, who else? Tristan Newton, I guess. Josh Minott. Yeah, I mean, it's just Luka Garza's, I guess, on the team too. But they're lacking some guard depth here, which sucks. But I think the Timberwolves still win this game, obviously. I mean, you compare their roster to the Mavericks roster right now. I think Minnesota should win. Dallas, again, They've really struggled. They have. Their only victory, which still doesn't make sense, is OKC, but I get it. No Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If anything, guys, that just proves Shai's greatness. And we're going to talk about the aura and the greatness of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander later in the video, like we always do when they take on the very lowly Utah Jazz. OKC's a minus 3,000 favorite in that basketball game, but we'll get to it, obviously, like we do for every single game. But I think Minnesota goes on the road here. I think they beat Dallas. Dallas is really hurt right now, and they just haven't played their best ball. Sure, the win over the Thunder, but they have lost, 5 of their last 6. So, can't trust them. Dallas, again, at one point in the season, prior to the Luka injury, was 20-11. They're now 23-20. They've fallen off a cliff. Again, when Luka comes back in February, we'd assume around February, they're going to be better. But for now, it's tough relying on just this Kyrie Irving-led Mavericks team. That's nothing against Kyrie. It's just the team's not built for Kyrie to win by himself, obviously. They're just not. It's going to be Minnesota on the road here against the Dallas Mavericks. Let's move on to our 4th game of the video as we go to a big one. The other game in Texas today, as we have the Houston Rockets taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's a big basketball game, it is. Again, I think Houston's good. I do think they are. Ever since, though, I pronounced Houston a good basketball team, they've gone 1-2, which is actually ridiculous when you think about it. I've hated on this Rockets team all year long, and I finally said, you know what? I actually kind of like the Rockets now. I like the way they play. I like Jalen Green, and I think I've cursed them. I think I have. They've gone 1-2 since then. They lose the Kings. They go to Portland and win, obviously. And they lose the Pistons at home, which, again, Detroit's a good team, but man, that's just unexpected. Now they have back-to-back games against Cleveland, then they got to go to Boston, and then on the second night of a back-to-back, they got to go to Atlanta, and then to Memphis after that. I mean, this is a brutal 5-game stretch for the Rockets where, again, I'm not even hating on Houston here. I'm just saying there's a chance the Rockets go 0-5 in this stretch. There is a very good chance they do. And I'm taking Cleveland in this game. I get it. Houston's a really good defensive basketball team. The Kings dropped the highest point total on Houston throughout the entire season on TNT on Thursday, where Sacramento dropped 132 over the Rockets. Again, Jalen Green had a pretty good night, but unfortunately it was not enough for the Rockets. We had the Rockets, obviously, that night. It is what it is. I just think Cleveland's going to be able to outscore them. Again, the Rockets haven't faced an offense like Cleveland yet. They haven't. I like OKC, but Cleveland's offense is different. And yes, teams like the Thunder, when they got them in OKC, they were able to shut down Cleveland, but I don't know if the Rockets are going to be able to do so. Again, this Cleveland team, man, they're so nasty. Evan Mobley's still out, which does suck. But everyone on this court can shoot for the Cavs, man. The Rockets, again, they're fairly healthy without, obviously, Jabari Smith. That means Amen Thompson, obviously, in the starting lineup, who's done a very good job. I think Amen Thompson's a great basketball player. He's only going to get better. But I like Cleveland here. I just think they're able to outshoot Houston. I do think, again, it's going to be similar to that Sacramento game. If Sacramento is able to shoot the lights out the ball. Again, I get it. The game was at Golden 1. It was in NorCal, but still, Cleveland, I think, can go into Houston and win this basketball game. Donovan Mitchell and company should be able to shoot the hell out the ball in this game. Cleveland, again, a 36-6 basketball team. That is pretty damn great. Again, where they end up in the postseason, I don't know. But Cleveland's just able to effectively score pretty much every single night that they play. I get it. They just lost 2 games recently. Indiana, OKC happens to be 2 teams we're very high on. But this is still an all-around really good basketball team. The Cavs won back-to-back now in Minnesota. Suns the other night. Give me the Cavs to go on the road to Houston and win. The odds are fairly close in this one, but we're going to take -2.5 for Cleveland, -130 in the money line. I like Donovan Mitchell and the Cavaliers to go to Houston, Texas, and beat the Rockets. Let's move on to our next game as we go to Memphis, Tennessee, as we have the Memphis Grizzlies hosting the Charlotte Hornets. A little surprised at the line. Not going to lie. A little surprised. Charlotte's been playing better basketball. Much better basketball. I believe, gotta be. For the first time all season, the 11-win Charlotte Hornets are on a 3-game winning streak, right? 3 straight wins over Utah on the road, Chicago on the road, and they got, obviously, the Mavericks and won that game as well. Williams has been great for Charlotte. He's been a monster on the glass, Mark Williams, after, obviously, the Nick Richards trade. And LaMelo Ball, premier player in the league. All-star in this league. It's that simple. Brandon Miller, obviously, out with injury, no problem. Here comes Melo. And Charlotte has won every single game since Miller's gone out. I mean, hell, Melo's averaging 29 a game. He's a great basketball player. Nothing else to say about it. He's that good, right? This team has now won 4 out their last 5, with the only loss being in Phoenix against the Suns. You get the Grizzlies in the spot, right? Grizzlies, 28-15, good team. They can score. and they can score effectively. I'm not going to deny that. They are somewhat healthy now, obviously, but that starting lineup is nasty. Ja, Desmond Bane, Jalen Wells, Jaren Jackson, who's been a premier player in the league this season, and an all-star, definitely, and Zach Edey, who, has established himself as one of the leading candidates, obviously, to win the Rookie of the Year. The rookie, obviously, out of Purdue. And this bench unit's good, too. I just think Charlotte's able to keep within this 12.5 points. I know the game's at the FedEx Forum in Memphis, but the way Charlotte's been playing recently, they've covered this in the last, they've covered this line every single game in 2025. I know they had a couple postponed because they were in Los Angeles, but they've covered this line every single night, except for once, dating all the way back to December 13th. Charlotte does cover this line because they are effectively able to score. Again, Charlotte, unlike some of these bottom feeder teams, and I don't really think Charlotte is one of these, they're not Wizards. They're not a Raptors in America. Toronto's much better, obviously, in Canada, but Toronto in America is horrible. They're not like the Wizards. Hell, they're not like the Jazz sometimes, and really Brooklyn sometimes when they go on the road. Charlotte will lose competitive basketball games. Sure, they'll lose, but they'll keep those games close because of what LaMelo Ball is able to do. So I do think Charlotte covers this line, even though, yes, Memphis is incredibly impressive. I do think the Hornets are able to cover the 12.5 points, but yeah, Memphis should probably win the game. But LaMelo Ball, man, has been playing that good of basketball. They've been fine without Brandon Miller, and again, you got to give all the credit in the world to Melo. Give me the Charlotte Hornets to cover the 12.5 points on the road in Memphis. But yes, ultimately, I do think the Grizzlies win the basketball game. Let's move on to our next one as we go to New Orleans, Louisiana, as we have the Milwaukee Bucks going to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Give me Milwaukee hesitantly, very hesitantly. Why? The Pelicans are playing great right now. I mean, they were the laughing stock of the league, and I get it. They had a G League lineup. They had all these guys hurt. I understand. But they're playing much better once they got their guys back. Now, I don't think Brandon Miller is back just yet. Yves Missy, potentially Rookie of the Year candidate out of Baylor, questionable with an illness. Zion Williamson, questionable probably with that same illness. And then DeJounte Murray will play. He's probable with an elbow injury. But New Orleans has figured it out. That's why I'm hesitantly picking Milwaukee to win on the road. Giannis Antetokounmpo, probable with a knee injury. No AJ Green in this game, and Chris Middleton will play with his 2 ankle injuries. I'm hesitant picking this one, and Milwaukee's been great recently, right? They've won 7 out their last 8 games, dating back to January 6th with their victory in Toronto. Their only loss being that road decimation that they took, I think that's the right word, in New York at the Garden against the Knicks. But Giannis, man, I mean, Antetokounmpo is having such a good season. Again, I think it's clear who the top 3 leaders are and favorites are to win the MVP this season. In order, sure, I'll give it to you. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. But not to say Giannis and Nikola Jokic aren't having crazy seasons. They are. Shai's on the best team in basketball, and look where they are without him, and he's doing it without Chet, and right now without Isaiah Hartenstein. So look how good the Messiah of Oklahoma City is in our guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's great. We love SGA. Anyways, but Milwaukee's tough to stop when Giannis is playing like this, man. They're difficult. And the only reason I'm hesitant on -6.5 for Milwaukee is because they have to go to New Orleans, and the Pelicans have been playing a lot better. There is, again, injury problems with them, or I guess illness problems right now with New Orleans. Obviously, 2 of their starters in Williamson and Missy are sick. We'll see if they play. But again, the starting lineup is playing much better right now. We're talking about CJ McCollum, who dropped 45, and they're come from behind overtime victory over the Utah Jazz on Monday. Trey Murphy's been really good this year as well. I mean, it's been Murphy and McCollum and DeJounte Murray as well, who have been really good scorers for this Pelicans team. I don't know. I'm, again, hesitantly picking Milwaukee, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Pelicans do cover this line. It's just, again, Utah was able to build a pretty big lead on them. I think Milwaukee's going to be able to do the same thing, and I think just Milwaukee, the difference between the Bucks and the Jazz is that the Bucks are able to hold on to that lead. So give me the Bucks to cover. Again, I think there's better games to bet on today. Cleveland, Atlanta, we get a spot later at the Intuit Dome. I don't mind, right? Like, there are better games to bet on than this one. Hell, even Minnesota on the road, Charlotte plus 12.5. I'd personally stay away from this one. But again, the pick, as always, we give you every single one every single day, is Milwaukee -6.5. The line opened at 8.5. It's now 6.5. Again, I'd stay away. Let's move on to our guy. Our guy, the Messiah of Oklahoma City. That, of course, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai, again, has got the Thunder at 35-7 this season. They are -3,000 favorites at home against their Northwest rivals in the Utah Jazz. Utah's 10-31, and now it's a daily occurrence. Let's talk about all the injury problems that the Utah Jazz have right now. So early in the season, obviously, we talked about it every time. Unfortunately, Taylor Hendricks, again, got injured. He broke his right leg. Sucks. Good shooter at times. Jordan Clarkson is still out for an extended period of time with a torn plantar fascia. I don't really know the human body all that well, at least like anatomy. I think that's the word. I think. I never took, physiology was the class for this, right? I think. I didn't take it. I've taken environmental science twice now. But anyway, well, I didn't fail, just taking it again. Just regardless. Anyways, I don't know where that is in the body. But it's, left foot. MRI is left foot. Okay, left foot injury for Jordan Clarkson. John Collins is questionable today with a hip injury. Lauri Markkanen is questionable with a back injury. Johnny Juzang's out with a hand injury. Cody Williams, their first round pick out of Colorado, out with an ankle injury. Not missing much there. He'll be better eventually. Michael Potter, out with an illness. And Bryce Sensabaugh, who's erupted recently, kind of fallen back down to earth, is questionable with an ankle injury. So where does that leave Utah? Well, their best player recently has been Keontae George. And Keontae George is obviously playing. Colin Sexton is playing. Isaiah Collier has been really good off the bench for them as well. They're just missing so many guys, man. It makes it really difficult. And, they're playing the best team in the NBA. I don't care record-wise. Technically the Cavs have a better record. Nah, OKC's beating every team right now in the league in a 7-game series. Chet Holmgren will be reevaluated in 3 to 5 weeks. That means Chet is 2 months away. That's fine, because Shea still has this team as the #1 team in the Western Conference without Chet, and right now without Isaiah Hartenstein, who's out for a week plus. Jalen Williams questionable for this game. Santa Clara Jalen Williams. That's fine. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's here, guys. We'll be okay. It's like the Colin Cowherd meme. It's okay, LeBron. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's here. The league is fine. The league's in the hands of SGA now. We're okay. Shea should dominate. I mean, who's going to guard Shea? Colin Sexton. Who in the second unit for Utah is going to guard Shea Gilgeous-Alexander? Who's going to stop this mid-range? Svi Mikhailuk? Come on now. Shea's going to eat this team alive. It's that simple. SGA will eat this team alive, and he'll do it again, and he'll do it again, and he'll do it again on Sunday. They don't play on Sunday. It was just an expression. But anyways, OKC dominates. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's that good. I don't really have much else to say. So give me the Thunder. Yeah, I think they'll cover 17.5. But would I bet it? No. They're much better games. Don't bet minus 17.5. As much as I love the Thunder, as much as I love Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I wouldn't bet it. If anything, bet Shea's over. I don't know what it is. It's probably 32.5. I'd bet it. I think that's probably a better bet than betting 17.5 points in the Thunder. They should cover with the Utah injuries, but Utah surprisingly has kind of kept in games recently, so I don't know, but they're playing OKC. It's a whole nother game when you're playing the Thunder and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Next up, let's go to the battle in Northern California. We've got the Golden State Warriors heading up north to take on the Sacramento Kings in California's capital, obviously, of Sacramento. I like the Kings. Kings are playing much better right now. They just are. They've got one loss in 2025. It's a loss on the road in Milwaukee against the Bucks. This team started the year 13-19. They're now 22-20. You got to give a lot of credit to Sacramento. They are the opposite effect that the Golden State Warriors have had. Warriors started the year hot as can be. They were 12-3. They're now 21-21. They're hurt. They lost to Boston the other night. Draymond's still out. Kuminga's still out. Kyle Anderson's still out. Brandon Podziemski's still out. I mean, get Curry help. I don't know what else to say. They got him Dennis Schroeder, which is great. But man, it's just... I don't know. Curry can't win with this team. It's that simple. Yeah, it's not Curry's fault. What have they assembled around him? Guys, Sacramento, they cooked up their voodoo magic again. The Sacramento Devil Voodoo Arrowhead Kansas City Chiefs magic is back in Sacramento. They don't miss anymore at home. So going to the Golden One Center is extremely difficult again, because now they've got Trey Lyles shooting like he's Dirk Nowitzki. They've got De'Aaron, who's obviously always got that touch. Malik Monk. DeMar DeRozan hits every single mid-range. He screws up their pace of play, but still he's effective. Keegan Murray, obviously. Domantas Sabonis. Malik Monk. Keon Ellis. Kevin Huerter. Doug McDermott randomly hits shots now, too. Well, he always has. Dougie McBuckets has always been great, but he's interesting in this lineup. I forget Jay Crowder's with the Kings now, too. He doesn't play, but I just forget he's here. Anyways, give me Sacramento. The Warriors won't be able to keep up. It's that simple. They will not keep up. Sacramento's coming off a 23-point victory against the Wizards. They beat the Rockets the other night on TNT. This team's good. The Warriors are not good. The Kings in their last game against the Warriors on January 5th went to San Francisco and beat this Warriors team by 20 points. What's going to happen now that the game's up in Sacramento? The Kings will be able to win it again. and they'll probably win it by 20 points as well. The Warriors are still hurt. Sacramento, again, they're much better at home, and Sacramento they've turned it around. Got to give this team credit. You got to. Sacramento now with the victory will find themselves in 7th in the Western Conference, right? They're going to be, 2 games back the Lakers? 2 games back the Clippers? All of a sudden, look at Sacramento, man. Only 1 loss so far in 2025. I don't think they pick up loss number 2 tonight. I think they win this game and cover the 7.5 points against the Warriors as well. Let's go on to the nightcap. We go to the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, California for the Los Angeles Clippers and the Boston Celtics. I have not been more disappointed in a basketball game all year long than I was yesterday or 2 days ago, watching the Los Angeles Clippers try to play the Chicago Bulls. Bulls on a 5-game losing streak. Clippers, I have to watch my favorite team play the Clippers and get smacked. And the next day I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to lay Clippers minus 5.5. I like the odds. Oh, Zubac is out. Kawhi's out. Doesn't matter. Norman Powell's playing. James Harden's playing. Everyone can shoot. Amir Coffey can shoot now, right? They can all shoot. They shot this was one of the most disgusting basketball games I watched all year long. They shot 20% from beyond the arc. They had a couple of garbage time threes, but it was ridiculous, man. LaVine, they couldn't stop Zach LaVine. They couldn't stop fouling LaVine. LaVine had 35 points. Norman Powell did his thing with 27, but they could not hit a 3 to save their lives. I mean, Norman Powell 3 for 10 from beyond the arc. Harden 3 for 13. The most efficient 3-point shooter, I kid you not, was Mo Bamba. Terrence Mann 0 for 3. Amir Coffey 0 for 4. KPJ 0 for 3. Kobe Brown 1 for 3. It's horrible. The Clippers are in a shooting slump right now, though. Even the Lakers game, they were in a shooting slump. They just beat the Lakers because the Lakers just sometimes don't show up. But yeah, the Clippers are slumping right now. And I think Kawhi's back, obviously. Oh, is Kawhi still not playing? Wow, he's not playing. Zubac is still out with the eye injury. Harden questionable. Powell questionable. Dunn questionable. Batum questionable. I'd expect both Harden and Powell to play. But yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal. No Zubac, no Leonard, no victory. Okay, that's how I see it. The Celtics are the better basketball team. Boston will go into the Intuit Dome, their first matchup here in Inglewood, and they should beat the brakes off this basketball team, coming off a 40-point victory on the road in San Francisco against the Golden State Warriors. The Celtics should do the same exact thing here against this very injured Los Angeles Clippers team, who simply put just can't find the touch from beyond the arc. I believe Al Horford and Drew Holiday both are not playing. Why? They play the Lakers tomorrow night. That's why. So obviously everyone's got to play at Staples. But hey, maybe it helps the Lakers on the road. Or sorry, maybe it helps Lakers at home tomorrow. It's the feature game tomorrow. It's the biggest game tomorrow. Maybe the Lakers get it done at home. Just saying, maybe they get it done. But I think the Celtics give this one first half of a back-to-back for them. They've got the 2 LA teams. I think they get the Clippers tonight. We'll see what LeBron has in store tomorrow night in Los Angeles. In real Los Angeles. Downtown Los Angeles. Give me the Celtics. They should win this game by about 20. Let's just be honest. They should win this game by 20. I got Boston minus 9.5, and obviously them to win the game outright as well. So give me Boston here in the nightcap. And folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA predictions here for January 22nd. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to comment. If you do disagree with any of the picks, folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.